Hello. Welcome. It's another day, another stream in fascist America, the United States of America. Welcome to whatever this is, an attempt at providing education, advocacy, and a little common sense in this digital wasteland. I'm Aubrey Devashri. Namaste and welcome to the people who are here desiring to create a better world. A blessing be upon you. To those who have intentions to dehumanize other people and exacerbate these hierarchies of human dignity, a curse be upon you. Okay. It's Friday. There are a number of things that I would like to be going over today. We have Culture Corner. We have a vocal lesson. We're going to continue to read Othello. And I thought I would share a little bit of my art. Hello, Turd Bomb. Welcome. Earliest you've been? Yes, welcome. Glad to have you. Curse those fuckers. Yeah, I'm definitely more into cursing fascists. Not like I was ever against the practice, but we need to instill more fear in them. This is my take. We will be talking about fascist violence today, current happenings, because we need to be talking about this shit. It really is just so enraging, and it can make us feel helpless with everything going on, and that is also the intention. So we'll be talking about that, and then get into the other things that I mentioned, as well as finish the Bill Robinson documentary that we started yesterday. We're a little more than halfway through. So how about, since we're going to be getting into some heavy topics, this isn't to diminish the seriousness of it, but to provide some lightheartedness before we get into that, I have a short by The Onion that I wanted to watch, then get some updates for the news, and then get into Culture Corner. How are things with you? Okay, so this short is called CEO Reveals How He Used AI to Build One-Person Company That Is $1.3 billion in debt. This isn't even satire. This is just what's happening.
Your company has no employees?
No, I'm literally my company's only employee. That's what AI lets you do.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your business worth today?
Right now, we're on track to be $1.3 billion in debt.
Wow.
Which, when you think about it, was really pretty impossible even just a few years ago. But now I have thousands of autonomous AI agents every day doing the work for me, and every day I accumulate another $3 million in debt. It's really quite simple.
Now, I feel like you're being coy, not...
Him being so proud of it, too. Also, the panels that they have, the classic podcasting of soundproofing, but this is consistent with most mainstream podcasters. Glad to hear you're doing well. You have a show that you're going to? That's exciting. What show is it?
Everyone can do this.
Coy.
I mean, I think the hardest part is the commitment. Committing to never questioning when the AI tells you to name your company dogshittelecom.biz, or why it's taken out a loan for another warehouse, or why it wants to fill up that warehouse space with buckets of rusty screws is buying up at a huge loss. I already have all these rusty screws, but AI just keeps telling me to buy more. It even printed 100 million hats just like this.
Feels like we're in the midst of the next industrial revolution. And what exactly does your company do?
I don't know. I don't even know.
So what's next? 10 billion in debt? 100 billion?
Well, right now I'm at a stage where the chatbot is incentivizing me to kill myself. So if I play my cards right, next year we could be looking at the first zero-person business with $1 trillion in debt.
Amazing. Now, when I first heard about...
Making fun of all of these AI billionaires, they're also invested in the industrial war complex, all of these media outlets, these capitalists, part of the ruling class who are destroying the planet and humanity. So glad to be seeing them be taken down with this satire. It really, sadly, is not that far from the truth. Pop punk band called Fluorescence. Ooh, that's cool. I should check them out. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard about this situation, so we're getting into the serious stuff of some news updates, this fascist violence, because that's what this is. Of Nolan Wells, he went on vacation with some friends, they were all white friends, and that he went missing. That was happening for a bit. Yeah, it was the 4th of July weekend. And then now they have since found him. And this is hearing from his family, because I think we need to have them be centered. So this is heavy, but also just the reality of the world that we are living in.
Mysterious death of Nolan Wells. We're joined by...
And we need to be talking about this, especially with how these kids that he went with and their families, they're all part of the ruling class, essentially, with having connections in the justice system and politicians and all this bullshit. Like, this is white supremacy. This is colonizer behavior of, like, who knows. They're intentionally covering up all of this information, and we need to be keeping his memory alive by talking about what happened.
Parents,
Yeah,
Christine and
they
Elmore
did
Wansley, as well as their attorney
find
Ben
him.
Crump. And before we get started, first off, I want
Poor
to thank you
family.
for being here under these circumstances. I know how extremely tough it must be, and we can express how sorry we are for you and your family. And first question, how are you two holding up?
Taking it second by second.
Day by day.
Second by second and day by day, which we all can understand. And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they say that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. Like,
I don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city. Now, so I was out telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group. Because I always said, safety is in numbers. Mm-hmm. And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been unusual for him to split from the group.
Yeah.
And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
so that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat, and usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends. And so it would always just be like, hey, Mom, I'm back, type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was from his friend.
And then too, really didn't worry a lot about it because, you know, it was his last weekend to have fun.
Yeah.
Because that Monday he had to report to school, and we was preparing to take him back for camp to prepare for the season. So, you know, we understand he wanted to have his last little hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season. Because, like I said, the entire summer he's training. He got more serious. He started to understand what I was trying to tell him about football, not just being fun, but as you get farther in it, it becomes a business. If you want to excel, and you have to understand, and you have to understand both at the same time.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you said you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Toshima, and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, like, they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, like, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. Like, it had, I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. Like, I'm not. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Toshima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone. They tracked it, and that highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman, and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe their story, I'm gonna stay behind and I'm gonna leave my phone. I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Yeah, so there's so many questions that need to be answered. And is there anything you'd like people to know about Nolan? What would you like them to know about your son?
No,
It's okay.
Nolan, take your time. Nolan was very loving. He was liked by all. It was not a friend that he couldn't make.
No, we'll be right back with more for the parents of Nolan Wells and attorney Ben Crump. We're back now on GMA with the parents of Nolan Wells, Christina and Elmore Wansley. And I want you to please continue to tell us what you want the world to know about your son.
So
Putting his
Nolan
family through
was
this.
just like this bright light, right? Walk into a room.
Like, on one hand, it's good to make sure that their voices are centered, being able to talk about Nolan's humanity in this very, like, dehumanizing situation of what happened to him, but also that they have to be grieving in such a public way, be the center of all of this. Like, it's all just, like, it's just all fucked up. It shouldn't have happened to begin with, obviously.
His smile, his energy was just so infectious. Like, it's almost like he drew you into him. And he was just one of those people, like, he always wanted everyone to be included. He didn't want anyone to feel left out. I remember one of his teachers emailing us. I can't remember what grade he was in, but basically it was math class. They had a special needs student, and she asked a question, and Nolan got everyone to put their hands down because he wanted that student to answer. And so student answers the question, and she was like, Christine, the classroom, Nolan went crazy, and everyone else started going crazy, just celebrating that child. Making them feel included. And that was the person he was. Like, he loved everyone. And I always told Nolan, like, you know, you have to be careful when you have such a big heart like that. I love that God blessed you with that, but you have to be careful with that. Because, you know, that it's not always returned, that type of love. But he was just genuinely a good person. Like, I always say, all the best parts of me are with him.
And Dad, anything else you want to add?
It's just, he's gonna be really missed. I know a lot of his teammates, they all look to him as a leader. He's more like a silent leader. Not real big on words, more action, which is kind of like I was. I really wasn't real big on talking. I really wanted to show you, and you follow me, and people followed him. And it's gravitated. He he put in the work, he worked hard, and he knew he was focused on what he wanted. And he wanted to make life better for, his family. He wanted to have his own family. He used to say, Dad, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to build this. I said, well, son, you got to take it one step at a time. Slow down, let's walk this thing out. Let's train, let's sign our deals, let's make these teams, make these camps, put the work in, and everything else will work out. Even his baby brother, their bond got even stronger, because now I have a big brother that he's finna do something, so now I want to outdo that. So his focus and his confidence has got even better. So I was looking forward to both of them having outstanding years.
Seasons,
It seemed like he inspired in the home, and he inspired
Absolutely.
outside of the home. And Attorney Crump, where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, the deleted messages that Christina was going to
So-
briefly touch on, we want to get the phone and figure that out.
Backtrack on that. When we finally got his phone, me and my sister went through the phone. We went in his Snapchat. He had 2 accounts, absolutely nothing. It wasn't even 24 hours, which is how long videos and pictures stay in Snapchat. And I was just like, that can't be. Like, I've seen Nolan
wiped his phone.
whenever he snaps. Like, when he goes and he's having fun, like, he does videos. Like, there was absolutely nothing, no saved videos. And even my sister was like, yeah, that's suspicious,
Michael, we having an independent autopsy done at the behest of his family. Colin Kaepernick helped pay for the independent autopsy. We flew his body up from Mississippi to D.C. because they wanted an autopsy done by a person with no interaction with the Mississippi law enforcement, because there's an issue of trust here that is really important. And the fact that they keep trying to say, suggesting it was a drowning, but nobody out there reported him drowning, it's not adding up, Michael Strahan.
Yeah.
It is not adding up.
And honestly, we are doing this because at the end of the day, I would hope any parent would fight for their kids to find out if anything happened, what did happen. So we just want honesty and transparency. We want a thorough investigation. We want that same respect that would be given to anybody else, and that's it. We just want answers.
Well, we really appreciate all of you being here. We hope you get the answers that you deserve to have, and we hope you get the closure that you need. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mike.
For having us.
Yeah. It's very sobering and devastating. And like, sadly, this is a pattern of behavior of Black men in Confederate states having their lives taken. Like, it's part of a historical pattern that is a result of these oppressive systems and violence, and what allows it to continue. Like, the families of the people or the young men that Nolan was with, them being in all of these positions of power, that's not an accident. They need to be held accountable. I know that from what I've heard from my partner is that many of them have since like privated their social media because people have been coming in and are like, where's Nolan? You need to tell us what happened. Because honestly, like, with these kids' families being in positions of power, like, who knows what kind of justice we'll get. Like, we still should hold out hope for that, but that sometimes, like, the peer pressure and societal pressure is what actually has more consequence when these systems are functioning as they were built to. Just sending care and love and healing to Nolan's family and the people that he interacted with. And what she said about like having a big heart, that just is like so heartbreaking, of like no good deed going unpunished, or like how do we even like maintain, like sometimes it can be difficult to think about like how do we have a sense of like softness and kindness in a world that does not reward that whatsoever, but just like going to show how like his impact was so large like in his lifetime, and that like if justice can't be had with the system, that it should be had in other ways. So, as we are talking about local news, I'm having a variety here just to make sure that, you know, like protecting our own energy and such, which also, like, just to be clear, like learning about all of this is not nearly as difficult, obviously, as what his family is going through and what many families have gone through. So just wanting to make that clear. On a previous stream, I went over how the IBEW Local 614, I said they were part of the Salt Lake area. That's not true. They're part of the Philadelphia area. How, like, as we were talking about fascist violence, that what I was highlighting specifically was how there were 3 workers that were brutalized by security for the company that they were working for, because a cop is a cop. But it is exciting to announce that, like, a couple of days ago, that they actually won a contract, so they aren't striking anymore. They reached a deal with the company. This is the power of collective organizing. It is very hard won. It doesn't mean that there wasn't risk involved, clearly, but that they were able to organize and get this accomplished. So this is their Instagram page. They are going to be voting on July 18th for the contract. This is what an actual democratic system looks like within a union. That decisions are made by the union members actually voting. It's not, I mean, you can have like representatives of the union, like union leaders who are helping with the negotiations and such, but action is not taken until union workers vote for it. This is a huge difference from what we call our so-called democracy in the United States of America, or like most kinds of democracy within the colonized world especially, is that like with representative democracies, again, like there can be leaders and representatives for unions, but when we have our particular type of representative democracies, these people often make decisions for us. We vote for them initially, and then it's hard to hold them accountable once they're in positions of power, because they just make decisions in the way that they often are feeling will be enriching to themselves, benefiting themselves, rather than the people they represent. And it's difficult to actually push them in ways once they're in these positions of power to actually listen to the public. But this is a very different approach of representatives, leaders, union leaders not acting until they have the backing of the union behind them. So this is a big difference, and congratulations to them. This is very exciting. It's really great to see all of this union work happening. It's happening all over the world, but especially within the past few years, the popularity of unions and the necessity of unionizing has just been growing. And this is a way that we fight fascist violence. There is a reason why fascists are afraid of union power, collective organizing, and that it is in direct contrast to these power imbalances of the ruling class of corporations and how they exploit workers to no end. And it takes this kind of work in order to hold the capitalist class accountable. So congratulations to them. That's really exciting to see. That is very hard won. Even getting to a point of going on strike can take such a long time, and it's really heartening to see people have these successes. Okay, so continuing to talk about the fascist violence that is increasing. This hasn't gone away with ICE, with these recent surges that have been happening. There just has been a lower profile with everything going on because they realized the media attention looked bad and that people were organizing around having more information about all of the atrocities happening. But that does not mean that they have stopped. We've seen more people be kidnapped, such as Julio Urangare, that we have been talking about his case, that he has been deported. His family still is looking for donations. And this recently happened of Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, that he was killed by ICE, and this happened in Houston. So there are many people organizing around this. But yeah, justice. Latinos have to stand up for themselves and each other. They're not showing us the video, don't know the whole story. Yeah, of course, there are people like these bots coming in being like, for people who are killed by illegal immigrants. This is astroturfing. This is what fascists do. There's so many bots online. Like, that's a government op, I'm pretty positive. Providing medicine with dancing. Yeah, there's limited footage. I'm not showing the footage, but you can be looking it up on your own. But the one witness at the time of this happening, they are really pressuring, the government is pressuring them to self-deport. This is what happens when there is a government that is not held accountable, that is pursuing its ethnic cleansing projects, and how there is no accountability. But we see how they still, like, despite all of the things that were happening in Minneapolis and Chicago and LA and New York City, everywhere, because this is happening everywhere, to be clear, that they haven't slowed down. They've just changed tactics. And we have to be talking about this fascist violence not in the way of like fascism starting in the early 1900s with Italy. This is colonizer behavior, to be clear, of like, there is a reason why we are seeing solidarity of this shared recognition and struggle of people of color, especially as we are seeing indigenous people coming out and supporting, because like, if we are talking about the history of colonization, the reason people even speak Spanish who are living in the Americas is because of Spain colonizing the Americas. Otherwise, they would be speaking their native tongues of their tribes that they are living in. And how like all of this is part of this larger ethnic cleansing project that is continuing from the colonization of these lands to begin with. So like, we have to be looking at it as that way. I know that there are some funds for people to donate to. So this is the one for Nolan Wells and his family. And then this other one for Lorenzo, Salgado, Araujo. Let me see. I keep clicking links to find this fundraiser, and I don't know if it was like a local event. Let's see, I keep being taken to other articles. So there have been vigils. Yeah, why isn't this bringing up any other donations? It just keeps like having me bouncing back between like a few of the same articles. I will find this after the stream just to make sure that we have more resources going there, but this is like one of the articles. I'm going to be sharing. Hello, Bunso. Welcome. Oh, I'm glad your disability check came in. That's great. We're talking about a lot of fascist violence that is happening, particularly in the US. It's happening everywhere. But it is a continuation of colonizer tactics. And why we need to be talking about building other systems outside of capitalism, having safe spaces for people actually having more militant resistance when it comes to this fascism, because they are able to get away with this because they have the levers of power at their disposal, and they're using these systems that are built to be functioning in the way that they are. I also mentioned, Juniper is at the window. I don't know if you could hear her. There was something else that I was going to be bringing up. Oh, I mentioned on a previous stream talking about the Salt Lake City bail fund. I posted it on Instagram. I did hear from someone who like commented saying that they accessed or they tried contacting the Salt Lake City bail fund and that they didn't hear back from them, and that it was only like a small portion of the bail that they actually needed. So that's not great. I don't want to be endorsing entities that are not responsible with actually contacting people, let alone like helping them people with the funds that they have at their disposal, which I'm guessing they do this like on a case-by-case basis. But that is concerning to me, so I want to correct that. And also, it seems like there is more of a need than what the bail fund is currently able to provide, of talking about creating one possibly through this stream, especially as we are seeing the ramping up of violence by these systems. Because, like, to be clear, like, you don't have to be doing anything quote unquote wrong or illegal in order to be brutalized by police, in order to be arrested, in order to be jailed, imprisoned. That like this is part of a larger project of white supremacy, patriarchy, these systems that are functioning in the way that they were built to. Burning houses down and shit. Yep, that's also happening. It's like they're feeling more emboldened than ever, and this should be unacceptable to all of us, which is why I think it's cool, Bunso, that you are involved in like the organizing group for anti-fascist action and such, that like this is important, of like we should all be engaging in action. Okay, so we did start this video yesterday of Bill Robinson, stage name Bojangles, a tap dancer. He was an incredible dancer that I mentioned. He's referenced in The Bluest Eye. It's always the youth who do it. The elders have too much to lose. Yeah, they radicalize the youth and get them into this like rabid state of feeling like they have something to lose, blaming their circumstances that the elders have created. Their fascist elders have created the circumstances for the younger people's oppressive circumstances, even if they aren't experiencing it as much as other kinds of young people, and then let them be cannon fodder. And this isn't like exclusive to the US, obviously, but when I was seeing all of these like young men being more radicalized, like with the manosphere and stuff, which I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a CIA psyop, that a lot of these people were funded by the CIA, a lot of white power groups, clearly, but especially when like Trump specifically was going around like that kind of circuit and was trying to get young men to vote for him. I'm like, he's creating an army. He is intending to start wars. He's intending to foment violence. And he is wanting these young men to be collateral damage for his fascist projects. And like, he obviously isn't alone in this, Trump, but like the other people who are like him, it really is just another reason why we need to be talking about how like fascism in general, these colonizer tactics, they hurt everyone, including the colonizers, including the fascists, but they don't care. Hello, androgynous water. Welcome. How are you doing? Sweeties against fascism. Yes. Anytime you say sweeties, especially with like your notifications for your streams, which by the way, if you all don't follow or watch Androgynous Water, you should go do that now. They have incredible streams that are very soothing and decompressing. And you do a lot of really great work there. But every time you say sweeties in your soothing voice or with your notification, I'm like, oh, thank you. I love it. I'm doing all right, you know. We're talking about some news of current events that it's heavy stuff, but also trying to use it as a way for inspiring more action. Hopefully, at least this is what it should do, because the oppressive forces that exist want our despair, and we can't let them have that. That, especially when it comes to like humanizing each other, actually seeing the goodness in each other. This is a direct way to resist that type of despair. How are you doing? Okay, so this is the second half of the documentary that we were watching on Bill Bojangles Robinson, a famous tap dancer that was, like, his height was in the 1920s and 30s. He's referenced in The Bluest Eye, the book that we are reading for Band Book Club that we read on Wednesdays. And Toni Morrison mentions him in this book, talking about how like one of the main characters, Claudia, didn't understand why Shirley Temple got to dance with him. and that like the character, a young black girl, didn't get to dance with him instead, and the character being Claudia. And it's like, yeah, like, why is Shirley Temple dancing with him? You know, like, and he was put through a lot being in the entertainment industry, and we also get to see a lot of his life talked about in this documentary that is not often talked about, with like his how he gave back to community and was trying to better the circumstances of other people. So that's something I appreciate about this one. Remaining soft in spite of it all, doing good. Glad to hear it. And I feel like you bring that. That's very evident in your streams of like having a soft place to land for people. And that's incredibly important. So thank you for providing that.
Things that Hollywood stripped him of and said, you will play slave roles, you will talk below your abilities. It was a very demeaning situation.
Yes, sir.
Always the roles were as chauffeurs, as janitors, servants of every kind you could think of.
So this is when he is in mainstream Hollywood, when he was venturing out of the productions that were created by Black people in America for a Black audience, and where he was wanting more mainstream success, which he was able to achieve, but he was always assigned roles like this, when honestly his talent is far beyond most of the people that he was performing alongside, to be honest. Like, but this is why the people who are claiming things about like quote unquote merit, it's never been about merit, it's always been about supremacy.
Although
Oh no, it does this. If I've had a video up for a while.
There's things that Hollywood stripped him of and said,
frustrated by the limits placed on him in Hollywood, Bill refused to lose sight of his goal of screen stardom.
Bill Robinson was a very smart man, and he always said, you got to learn to stoop to conquer. You know, he said, I'll get there sooner or later, and he did.
By popular demand, Bill reteamed with Shirley Temple in The Littlest Rebel. Although he was once again cast in a stereotypical role, his character was pivotal to the story and proved to be a step in changing Hollywood standards.
Have you got enough?
No, child. It's going to take more money than what we got.
How do people get money?
I know how to get some more money. Come on, honey, child.
it was the first time that a Black man had responsibility for a white child. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot in today's society, but in those days, it was a major event. A black and white hand touching in those days, it was taboo. You weren't supposed to do that.
At least
With
a
no
depiction in
children of his own,
Hollywood.
Bill
I'm
treated
guessing
Shirley
that's what he's
as if she
intending.
were his daughter. He proudly displayed 17 pictures of her in his home.
Oh, God, there you're talking about the most beautiful relationship. They really loved each other.
So that's his daughter.
And
who's
really
speaking.
respected each other. And I know how much Uncle Bo loved her. He really adored her.
They used to sneak off and eat ice cream together. That was his favorite food in the world, ice cream, vanilla ice cream. For one of her birthdays, he had given her this electric cart that she used to ride around the Fox lot with.
Bill Robinson, Puffer Supreme, makes his next appearance in Café Metropole.
In 1937, Bill was finally scheduled to play a role that allowed him to trade in his servant garb for an elegant top hat and tails. But in a last-moment decision, the studio inexplicably cut his part from the film, and this rare footage was locked away in the studio vaults, never to be seen.
inexplicably. Yeah, especially in one of the rare instances where he's shown on film to be dressed in a manner that was indicative of being a performer, that normally white people would be wearing this kind of dress that he would wear in his own shows, his solo shows that he would do live, that like this was intentional discrimination and erasure, literally, of him in being shown as equal to a white performer in this kind of dress. He's so fucking good. He makes it look so easy. It takes so much control to do all of this. And the musicality, the feeling with
his
it.
Dance number pulled from public view, Bill's hopes for a sophisticated screen image were lost, and the studio returned him to playing stereotypical roles. He was disappointed, but like Shirley, he had learned that to get to the top, he had to take small steps.
So she's much older here than in
The next year,
some of the
Bill
previous
and
films
Shirley
they
delighted
showed.
audiences with 2 more films, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm and Just Around the Corner. The chemistry between them still glowed brightly, but Shirley was growing up. Public tastes were changing, and the dancing duo's popularity was fading. It was becoming clear that the partnership would have to come to an end.
Bye, Aloysius. I'm going away.
I sure hate to see you go, Miss Rebecca.
Oh, I'll be back.
Sure you will, honey. And don't forget this.
So again, him being in a role that is a servant role rather than in the main cast in a different class as well. But also, this can't be separated, the popularity declining of her getting older. That there was this romanticization and often fetishization that happened with Shirley Temple, and how like as she got older, she got less roles. It's like she really didn't have much of an acting career or much of a performing career after she got older, specifically like starting to go through puberty. That is very common for a lot of child actors.
I won't.
In 1938, after appearing in 8 Fox films, Bill was dropped from the studio roster. Shirley would soon be let go as well. In only 3 years, Bill had reached an unprecedented level of success for a black performer. Although he had not achieved everything he hoped for, he had won the respect and adoration of his public. Many thought the best part of the 60-year-old dancer's career was over. But Bill would soon show everyone that he wasn't finished with the big time yet. With nearly a dozen Hollywood films to his name, Bill Robinson returned to his beloved New York City, where he was welcomed with open arms. Delighted to be home, he paraded down the streets in celebration of the World's Fair of 1939. As the toast of the town, Bill starred in Mike Todd's production of The Hot
That's
Mikado,
very famous footage
the
of
most
him.
elaborate all-black musical that had ever been produced. Governor Dewey, J. Edgar Hoover, and several battalions of the New York City Police Department showed up on opening night, where Bill received 8 encores.
I'll never forget my being in the Hot Mikado opening night on Broadway. Every number stopped the show. We never could come out of the stage door without actually
Oh, she's his
trying to find
goddaughter.
our
I thought she
ways
was
to
his
the book.
daughter. But I mean, that's cool that she got to be in a show that he was in as well.
Or the subway, because the whole audience would be right out there by the stage door waiting for us to come out to get our autographs or to try to get in to see him.
Veteran Bill Robinson, Mr. Bojangles himself.
At the age of 61, Bill Bojangles Robinson had become an entertainment icon in the city of New York. The veteran dancer seemed ageless, his energy endless. He performed 3 shows of the Hot Makata every day.
So you could see in that last little bit of film here how you need a certain kind of stage in order for tap shoes to be making sound clearly. That may sound obvious, but like especially if it's more wooden, like it's really hard to be tapping on more like plastic-ish types, or especially with, now it's a little bit different, but I mean there can be some stages that are there's like a lot of sticky stuff that's on it so people don't slip, but that also means that like tap shoes can't make as much of sound. And so sometimes if there are like stages that this is happening, or like on tile, like tile is really hard to be tapping on because it like echoes really bad and it makes like a pretty like high pitched sound that can be like hard on the ears, of like people bringing in their own like panels of stage to be tapping on.
His energy endless. He performed 3 shows of the Hot Makata every day and 2 Cotton Club shows every night.
We went to the Cotton Club with Bill Robinson and Cab Calloway. He was a great performer. His taps were so clear, crystal clear, and he never missed a tap. And I could understand why they called him the world's greatest tap dancer.
Bojangles had gained fame beyond his wildest dreams.
Yeah, that takes incredible
Although
precision.
he never learned to read or...
I know some tap. I've had to do some like tapping in like musicals I've been in, but it is very difficult. And what I did was very rudimentary. And the history comes directly from people who were enslaved, and tapping, like this art form, was pioneered by these people, and how it was often lifted by, like many other art forms and many other parts of culture, by white capitalists specifically. So I wanted to show, like after this, like how he wanted to patent the like stare move that he would do tapping. That the first time I saw it was in the film Singing in the Rain, and he was the person to invent it. And sadly, his process of getting it patented didn't go through, and it should have, because there was a lot of money made off of these steps that he would be doing, steps on steps, like literal steps, like going upstairs. And like that is something that should have happened for him.
He had earned the respect of an entire city, and his blissful existence could best be summed up in an expression he had coined himself.
Bill is credited for saying everything is copacetic. That was his phrase. And everybody said everything is copacetic, meant everything was good.
When the United States entered World War II, the country's top stars focused their energy on the war effort. Bill joined in with unfailing enthusiasm, performing in countless Bonn rallies.
I remember Danny Kaye being quoted as saying that Bill Robinson once took off his shoes one night in a benefit performance and sold the shoes for $10,000 for the war effort.
As the 64-year-old dancer tirelessly continued with his full schedule of shows and benefits, his wife Fanny grew worried about his health. Noticing his chest pains and shortness of breath, she begged him to slow down. But Bill ignored her concerns and seized every opportunity to work. In 1943, As President Roosevelt began a push for wider employment of black Americans, he urged Hollywood studios to hire more black actors. 20th Century Fox.
But before we give FDR too much credit, a lot of the New Deal, most of the New Deal really by FDR was not allowed for black Americans, so, and other racialized groups. But even the people, like there were some programs for indigenous people, but they were segregated. So even if people were allowed to have access to it, there was this separation. So there were all of these hierarchies of what it meant to qualify, what kinds of programs people could be a part of. This is also something that Toni Morrison talks about directly in The Bluest Eye, of saying how like these systems are working in this hierarchical manner because that's how they were built, and that people are then having to deal with the consequences of this. And rather than addressing the systems as being part of the problem, a lot of the time it is something that is internalized, or that is like the desired result is that people internalize these systems and think of it as a personal issue rather than a systemic one.
Responded with Stormy Weather, a big-budget, all-black musical with a star-studded cast headed by Bill Bojangles Robinson.
Yeah, this film is great.
Yes, sir.
Joining Bill in this lavish extravaganza were music legends Cab Calloway and Fats Waller. His romantic interest in the film.
Cab Calloway, that was someone we watched a video of yesterday. Another incredible talent.
Was a 26-year-old singer named Lena Horne. Stormy Weather also featured two of Bill's favorite honorary nephews, the Nicholas brothers, in a show-stopping dance number.
I remember when we were getting ready to do our number, and he saw
Do you
these
see
big
that?
stairs.
They make that look so easy. A lot of people think like, oh, Michael Jackson invented that move. There is a long history of dancing that he was pulling from.
That they had built for us to jump over each other's heads into splits.
Holy shit. Look at
He
this.
said to me, are you really going to do that? I said, yes. He said, well, good luck.
Stormy Weather was a major milestone for blacks in Hollywood. And it
Insane
was a
talent.
personal milestone for Bill. Not only was he playing the leading character in a Hollywood film, he was finally given the opportunity to act and dress like the successful performer that he was.
Baby, tell that lucky day you know darn well. Baby, I can't give you anything but love.
He was a movie star. That was the thing that separated him, that made everybody so proud of him. He
George
was a real movie
Hines,
star.
an amazing dancer.
In a world that was still very much segregated, Bill Robinson had transcended racial boundaries in both his career and his personal life. His diverse group of close friends and colleagues included Jackie Robinson, Fred Astaire, Ed Sullivan, Joe Louis, and Milton Berle.
He had many, many friends, all different nationalities, races, and they all loved him. Because of his personality, he had a great personality on stage and off stage.
Bill returned to the stage and Born Happy, but when he began spending too much time with a shy young chorus girl named Elaine Plains, his wife Fanny asked for a divorce. In June of 1943, the couple ended their 21-year marriage.
Bo was aging at this point, and Bo had a bad heart. Fanny wanted him to stop dancing to live longer. This is something that Bill Robinson would not listen to. And that, more than anything else, was one of the major causes of the divorce. She couldn't live with him and watch him in pain, and he couldn't live without dancing.
On January 27, 1944, at age 65, Bill married the 24-year-old Elaine. As always, Bill flaunted convention and continued to live the life he wanted to lead, defying his age and his health. In 1945, Bill Robinson was 67 and enjoying his status as a legendary figure in the entertainment world. He was also enjoying domestic life, embracing his new wife's family as his own.
What he got in his old age is security within a family environment. He became the head figure of a family with brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews, and they would play cards with him, and they would have fun with him, and he loved that part of it.
But Bill wasn't about to retire. In 1945, he starred in yet another Broadway show, Memphis Bound, an all-black version of Gilbert and Sullivan's HMS Pinafore. He also
That is such a hard dilemma to be in, though, of like the circumstance of him having troubles with his heart, but wanting to keep dancing. That's how he makes money. That's also like part of who he is. That, yeah, that would be hard, like as a partner, his ex-wife, to be seeing him like in pain, and that like the thing that he loves causing him pain.
to perform in as many benefits as he could fit into his schedule. By this time, he had danced in over 3,000 shows for charity.
He was generous to a fault. He was a very, very generous person, and I think he enjoyed his celebrity, and he enjoyed what his celebrity enabled him to do to help other people.
At age 68, Bill's health was seriously deteriorating, but he insisted on taking another show on the road, the Bill Robinson Concert Review. His longtime manager, Marty Forkins, gave up all his other clients in order to go on one last tour with his dearest friend, with whom he had shared so many battles and triumphs.
God bless Mr. Forkins. He was right there. He really treated Uncle Bo as though he was a blood relative instead of just a client. He protected him all the way down the line.
Bill's family grew alarmed as his heart began to fail him. But despite doctors' warnings, he refused to slow down. On November 14th, 1949, Bill had a massive heart attack. For days, an anxious public listened to frequent radio bulletins on his condition as he lay in the hospital. On November 25th, Bill Robinson died at the age of 71. As his fans across the country mourned the loss of a national treasure, the people of New York joined in a tearful farewell to the man who had brought them so much joy.
There has never been, and I doubt there will ever be, another funeral like that. You saw people lining both sides of the street and the park and the thruway. He didn't have a mother, he didn't have a father, but nobody in this world has ever been grieved for as he has. Kings and queens haven't gotten that. And you never saw so many grown men with the tears coming down and reaching back to get their handkerchiefs.
It was the largest funeral in New York's city history. Over 1.5 million people lined the streets from Harlem to Brooklyn. His body lay in state at the Armory up in Harlem because it was large enough to hold the crowds. It was an outpouring of love.
He was so generous to New York City and so revered. He was a dignitary in his death. They lined up. It was huge. And it wasn't just New York. I mean, people came from all over the world to mourn his passing.
And it goes beyond him being an entertainer, which he clearly was, and at the top level of talent, but also him giving back in such substantial ways when people really needed it too. That, like, it's like he went through a lot, and that is extremely clear, especially watching this documentary. But to see how loved he was, I think it just goes to show, like, how much he did in his life. Hello, Linton. Welcome. How are you doing? We're finishing up this documentary.
Having spent, gambled, or given away his fortune, Bill died virtually penniless. Friends and colleagues raised the needed funds for his elaborate funeral. Ed Sullivan coordinated the ceremony, and honorary pallbearers included Duke Ellington, Joe Louis, Bob Hope, Jackie Robinson, Joe DiMaggio, and Irving Berlin. In his eulogy, the Reverend Adam Clayton Powell Jr. said, "Bill wasn't a credit to his race, meaning the Negro race. Bill was a credit to the human race. He was not a great Negro dancer. He was the world's greatest dancer."
Bill was so revered by everyone. Bill had both white and black people who were in awe of him. Everybody loved Bill Robinson.
All of us who have come
that's clear.
behind Bill Robinson owe him a debt of appreciation. Because as I sat in the movie theater watching him dance, I could also see the Little Rock riots and how they didn't want people like me to come to a school. To see him, it made me feel like it was possible that I could do that.
I don't think there'll be another
The
person like
importance
him.
of representation, of actually visibility.
Very much, because he was my favorite. He was in a class all by himself. There was only one Bill Robinson.
There's a reason why they cut this number out, because he's so outshone other people in this performance, really showing himself to be the greatest dancer. Doing good. Glad to hear it. Got too caught up in backgrounds. That's okay. No worries. I'm glad you were doing what you needed to do. Backgrounds for the comics you're working on? I'm very intrigued. So we were talking about Josephine Baker yesterday as part of the Harlem Renaissance. And I wanted to show one of her most famous dances, the banana dance. And I learned not too long ago, I think she was one of the lovers of Frida Kahlo, actually. Frida Kahlo, queer icon, Josephine Baker, queer icons, both of them. I don't think I made that up, but let me double check. Yeah, bisexual icons. Frida Kahlo, gender bending icon. Do they have any pictures together? They sure do. I think this is with Georgia O'Keeffe. Frida Kahlo had many lovers. And so did Josephine Baker. Look at this. Look at this picture. So dapper in her suit. Incredible. Romanced Josephine Baker and Shavla Vargas. Is that Shavla Vargas? Ooh, do we get to see some of it? Linton! Stop! Okay, everyone. Behold. This is so good! I'm so excited! You're creating some cool stuff, and with, like, having it mean something, too. Like, great work. I'm proud of you. Thank you for sharing. And if you are interested in continuing sharing throughout the process, I will not complain. I love showing people's incredible art. I want to be able to get to a point with streaming of like having enough income from this where I can compensate people with the art that they share. Now I can use this to get any angle I need for a street scene. Oh, amazing. Very thorough. I love it. Okay, so as a transition into Culture Corner, because that, I guess, is also culture, talking about Bill Robinson. Transing, because same. Transing into more of the heart of Culture Corner, or at least what I've planned for Culture Corner, from the band book club into this more officially. Let's watch this by Josephine Baker. Oh, by the way, this is the channel Dwan. You see her up here.
A hand-tinted version of the famous banana dance recently came to light in America. It was probably shown to cinema goers as a short film before the main feature.
There she comes rushing in. I'm going to turn off the captions just so we can see her better. Now we just need a hospital, supermarket, park. Wow, I mean, you've already done so much.
Censor saw to it that Josephine was dressed rather more modestly than she was for Paris audiences, but the setting is exactly the same. This is Josephine Baker on the stage of the Folies Bergère at a moment of music hall history.
Yep, that's part of her banana dance. That's like one of her most famous looks that she wore. There are so many people that are inspired by Josephine Baker. The girlies, the show girlies, the they thems, the queers. There's one look in particular by this drag queen. You're Salicious. Is that how you spell it? This is one of her, actually she doesn't have the banana one, but this is one of her Josephine Baker looks, if you can see. Stunning. Lovely. Fiercelicious also looks like a Bratz doll, which I love. Clearly. Bratz. Okay. So, I did want to show this video of Voice of Baceprot. We have been listening to more of their music. I mean, I have in my free time, but on the stream, we've been listening to their music. They recently performed in Copenhagen, as the Danes would say. And this is part of their set that I wanted to react to. They have a rabid fan base, I have to say. And they are extremely loyal because their music has so much substance. Not only is it technically, like, their technical skill is just out of this world. It just is insane. They also are incredible performers, such magnetic performers, and they have so much substance to, like, the things that they're talking about in their music, of defying a lot of like conservative standards for women in Indonesia, and they just are so wildly talented that I want to keep showing their stuff. This is by Digital Video Festival. This just very recently happened. And this crowd isn't nearly as, like, hyped as what some of their other crowds are, especially in Indonesia, where they're, like, moshing and stuff. But especially, like, Danes are not known to be very extroverted in general. We'll see as the set gets along, as they've had more alcohol, if that increases. Look, they're so talented. They're styling too. The best instrumentalists I've seen? I know. Exactly. Yeah, this crowd is not nearly as hyped as what they should be. Like, I don't think they understand what they're witnessing. So, shame on them. This is also very Danish to be, like, laid back in this way. So, calling that out as well. Like, even doing this is a lot for some Danes. And they have levels to their songs. This is something we'll be talking about for our voice lesson today, having variation and levels to a song and within singing, that there's musicality that you can have techniques for, of actually, like, making it so there's interest in sound. And even though the crowd is not that hyped, they still are performing, like, in a way that is engaging. The crowd took Xanax instead of ecstasy. I know. Yeah, exactly. It is also just, like, so Danish. And it seems like they're probably, like, one of the more, like, opening acts, because they were playing... there were a lot of big names at this festival. Like, I think they had, like, Metallica and, I don't know, some other people. Look at this. The crowd finally going, woo, she's like, yeah, thank you. Give us something. So we're getting a lot of different angles from this. The audio is kind of all over the place. This is not like a professional like filming of the set. Yeah, the drummer as well. Like, they're all so good. Apparently the festival is called Copenhell. Oh, now we have some moshers going. The beer's kicking in. That's what's happening. Damn. Like, not missing any notes. We're getting some different angles from some of the same songs we've been hearing. We're getting some of these solos though. This is where the crowd should be like going crazy. Oh, they're clapping now. I mean, kind of offbeat. There we go. Oh. Rimelig sagde en indosiske piger spiller sig metal. That's Danish. Someone's crowd surfing. I've never had the desire to crowd surf. Like, thank you, I don't want my stuff stolen and also to be groped everywhere. And also dropped on my head. That happens a lot. Oh. They all have their hands up. A little bit ago we were talking about music, or I guess maybe just last Culture Corner, of like the balance of nostalgia, of synthesizing sound in a way that sounds familiar, so people actually like can latch onto it in a way, but doing it in a new way. I think they exhibit this phenomenon really well.
So I'm not a corrupter. I'm not the enemy. I just wanna sing a song to show myself.
So playing some music the audience is a little more familiar with. We'll have to watch another one of their sets sometime where they have a better crowd. So we're getting a lot of the same section of this song. Okay, that ended abruptly. I did want to show, let's see. Someone mentioned on a video that I was reacting to the Voice of Baceprot. I'm gonna find this on YouTube real quick. What? Will this let me show it? Okay, I don't know why it's acting weird. Let me try this instead. I'm gonna go into the back end. Okay. This is part of the back end of YouTube. So this is when we had Culture Corner last week. Someone commented about reacting to more VOB. Bona Palma, the director of the music video, because I said in it that I was like, oh, I wonder who directed this. So Copenhell, that was one that someone referenced. The visual concept behind the music video was inspired by the symbolic meaning of the samsara circle. The circle of life describes never-ending cycles of values, challenges, stigmas, and stereotypes that the band members have experienced, just because they are unique and different. Marcia, singer, guitarist, leader, has been called an expert of hell, Satan's slave, and a woman of the end times by various self-proclaimed pillars of morality. So yeah, they're like going against what is considered like expected of them, and it's very cool. It's like, this is what rock is. It's about anti-establishment, pushing back against these power structures. They also said this song was released on the 76th anniversary of Indonesian independence, August 17th, 2021. The VOB, so that was the God Please Let Me Play Music, which was that last song that they were playing, the music video that we watched last week. The VOB members' practice spaces from the beginning were always lined with radical books: The Role of the Communist Party in Indonesia Independence, Che, The Genocide of Alleged Communist Supporters That Led to Government Overthrow, 1965 to 1966, Buru Island Political Prisoner Camp, 1998 Riots That Brought Regime Change, Women's Empowerment, etc. They are avid readers and are strong advocates of literacy and learning, which is very cool. It's like how we have said in the past and continue to say that the most meaningful art, or at least to me, the finest art, is when it is technically good, it's surprising, it's doing new things, but also has a larger message. Veering slightly away from that sentiment, I did want to play a song that, especially with all of the bullshit happening, things that can lead to a lot of despair, I wanted to share a song that I would listen to when I was younger, that I would like play on repeat, whether I was like in a good mood or a sad mood. It applies the concept of not having many parts of it that resolve, so like chords that resolve. And when musicians do this, it can create this feeling of longing and also like desire of some sort. And so this is an older song. This is by the band Beirut. I don't believe, like, I tried looking this up earlier today. I don't believe any of the members are from Lebanon or Beirut, but there are some people who know and study Balkan music. So I call this, like, I don't know what all of their heritage is, but at the risk of being offensive, I call this when there are people who are not necessarily like from a place, especially like back in like the indie times, like for millennials, there were many bands that did this where I would call it like Euro baiting, where they're like from the US, but they wanted to like sing in a way that made it sound like they had accents, but they didn't. So that's kind of what's happening here. But there are a number of inspirations that are from Balkan music, also from mariachi music. So I want to share this, if this provides any sort of comfort. Music is a great way that I find this, especially in trying times. So this is older. When did this come out? 19 years ago. Wow, that makes me feel old. Oh, thank you for sharing, Linton. Oh, who is the person? I saved their that video that you sent. Was it Sereen? That you said she was Palestinian Australian? And then I had to restart my laptop because it was freaking out and it didn't save it. If you could resend that as well, that would be great. I also like choreographed a song. I choreographed a dance to this when I was teaching dance. Sereen, thank you. Okay, I'll stop. I'll let this keep going and stop interrupting. But I've never looked up the lyrics to this. I don't know if this will ruin the song for me. So this is the first time I'm doing this. Oh, thank you for sharing.
If I was young, I'd flee this town. I've buried my dreams.
Okay, already the captions are way off from what I'm seeing. If park was your night. No. If I was young, I'd flee this town. I'd burn my dreams underground. As did I. We drink to die. We drink tonight. Far from home, elephant guns. Let's take them down one by one. We'll lay it down. It's not been found. It's not around. So even though they are not necessarily from the Lebanon area. They're called Beirut and are not, from what I've seen with like some interviews, they are familiar with more of the conflict happening there. Conflict, which really just means there is a lot of violence that is happening to the people of Lebanon, especially when it comes from the Israeli state and their violent policies and colonial expansionist violence that is an extension of what is happening to the people of Palestine. So they're talking about like actually taking what's happening and like taking them down one by one, of like making the best of a situation. Let the seasons begin. It rolls right on, of like time just keeps going, and like what can we really do but like be human and to like keep dancing. That's what they'll show in the music video. There's a lot of dancing that is really great. But yeah, it rips through the silence of our camp at night. It rips through the night, all night, all night. It rips through the silence of our camp at night. Okay, so the lyrics are basically what I thought they were, but I had just been kind of guessing until this point, and they have not disappointed me. Actually, something that is more meaningful, like talking about playing music through all of the violence happening to people.
Underground, as did I. We drink to die, we drink tonight. Far from home, elephant guns, let's take them down. One by one, we'll lay it down. It's not.
This was the height of like hipsters, as you can tell. The suspenders, like the handlebar mustache and long hair. But also, this was like growing up a very sheltered Mormon life. This was like one of the first depictions of seeing more like physical intimacy. I mean, it doesn't get like super steamy, but not like there's anything wrong with that anyway. But that is like more like joyful and like celebratory even, because especially with how like sexual relationships they're talked about within Mormonism, many other religions, I know that it's like, oh, this is sacred, and it's almost like a scary thing, especially witnessing something like this, like, oh no, this is bad to be looking at. But like, this was really good for me to see growing up, of like, oh, this can be like a really great experience for people that's like full of joy, not just like, oh, this has to be like a very religious thing. Seeing some people on leashes. I didn't develop a pet plate pink for no reason. Playing the mandolin. This part here, this is special effects. It's indicative of a time. And also the cymbals, it sounds like waves crashing. Yeah, heavy on the brass. I love the partnering with the dancing too. There's like so much whimsy. Which, like, in the face of such absurd, nonsensical, like, violence. Whimsy and, like, embracing absurdity in its own right can be resistance. This is a part I never knew what he said. I just want to point out here, also, like, the whimsy of, like, them wearing elephant noses, of, like, taking the piss, essentially, out of, like, elephant guns, of, like, okay, so there is, like, literal, like, warfare happening around us, like, two people, of, like, what can we do, but, like, we can resist, but how do we keep resisting is through having celebratory moments that embraces our humanity. I want to point out here, rewatching this, I was like, this feels so much more intimate than more music videos that I've seen of late. And I'm like, this is because it was, I'm going to sound so boomer here. If this was a depiction of a party nowadays, people would be on their phones of, like, that's just like part of the scenery essentially. And no one is on their phones here, where it's like there's this communal gathering of people, like, having an exchange with one another that is just, like, so healing to my Luddite heart. 4AD, they had a lot of indie artists that I listened to. Okay. Yes, let's watch this. Linton. Yay, thank you for finding this and for sharing. I thought I was spelling her name wrong, but then I realized that, like, there were a lot of Sereens that were popping up in the algorithm, and I wasn't able to find her, so thank you. That did not go where I thought it was. Ooh, I love being surprised.
Take me back to the good days where a pack of Lays was beshilling. Now I got bills to pay and my whole paycheck is gone in a minute. You won't get it, you got thick bullets. I got toll letters in my pocket. Road rage about to have me committed. Telling me to pay you, they'll pay me a visit. Take me back to the good days where we lived like birds in the village. The uncle smoking cigarettes, cutting up some pomegranates. Next minute, they're bringing in baskets of it. Cause of that one time you mentioned,
I'm gonna look up the lyrics for this too.
Don't ever break a spirit, nah. Caffeine and smoke, stimulants and broke. It's what keeps the system afloat. It's making me slow, it's still in my soul. I'm sick of pretending this is a life in the West we're living. I'd rather be struggling for bloody than be ass kissing and counting digits. The fruit tastes like chemicals, the rent price diabolical.
Ooh, I like that change up.
Everyday life makes me critical. The fruit tastes like chemicals, the rent price diabolical. Can't help but be political. This shit about make me مش هدنة خد لك شوف هالصدفة ما حدش ضل في غزة صواريخ نازلة بتضربهن هدنة هياتني بالغربة عايشين 5 بغرفة خد لك شوف هالصدفة I love to romanticize how different life could have turned out. What if we, like the seeds in the holy ground, had a chance to be free, grow up, be safe and sound? What if we lived in tribes? What if modern age was a thing of olden times where the basic needs weren't hard to find, where the bombs were never strikes. What if I stayed home? What if I never got that phone call? Another cousin has lost his life, now his wife raises a kid alone. I had to find out from an IG post. حشروا حالهم زي الشيطان بيحكوا عنا شعب جبار سامعين عنا قلب الأخبار. هدنة هدنة هدلك شوف هالصدفة ما حدش طل في الضفة صواريخ نزلت تضربهم. هدنة هدنة حياتني بالغربة.
Going back to like an older, like early 2000s club beat. Wow. Thank you for sharing. Incredible. Okay. I think I'm going to save this other song that you shared for next week, just so that we can keep moving. Okay. So for vocal lessons, last week we were talking about head voice, chest voice, and the passaggio, which is the in-between, the break in your voice that often is in a couple of places, depending on how you were singing, like stylistically. There are certain styles of singing that require more chest voice, such as like pop music, R&B, like if we're doing more like brassy musical theater singing, anything that is like what is considered more Western classical, which really is just like Italian opera-esque, that has a different type of passaggio. And with that type of singing, you'd really try to sing in your head voice for as much as possible, because that is where you can be very resonant. And where there are many opera singers that don't necessarily need like mics when they're performing, because they are able to like position their voice, like their body and how they're singing with their voice, so that they can project, and the acoustics in these places are built for this. Also, I mean, like belting, like singing in your chest voice, but at a higher register, like singing higher notes, I guess I should say. This can also be like loud. It does have a little more risk involved in some ways of like injuring your voice. But this is why, like, if you're ever doing something that is like pushing your voice, if it's starting to hurt, if it's feeling tired, you should stop. Also, drink a lot of water. Another of Sereen's songs. Ooh, yes, thank you. Also saving this. Incredible. Thank you very much. Saving. So I did want to show, like for this week, it's not necessarily as technical in terms of like giving particular exercises for things, but it's stylistic choices. So going between head voice and chest voice, I did want to show like an example of a song that I would often sing. This is from The Scarlet Pimpernel, the musical. How I love the music. So, don't do that much investigating when it comes to the musical, but, or the book, that's for sure. It's aristocratic propaganda, as we went over. But, I did want to show like a little bit of difference within this one particular song, of like how I mentioned last week, of a lot of people as a stylistic choice starting out in their head voice, going to chest voice, like as you're moving through lower notes and stuff, so that you actually have it build somewhere. You can make your head voice sound more like chest voice if you place it in a particular way, if it's like more at the front of your face. And that is something that, like getting more into like Broadway styles, this is something that I want to start talking about for next week. So, this is from the Scarlet Pimpernel. It is the song When I Look at You. It is about Marguerite being sad about Sir Percy not paying enough attention to her. So she goes. Oh wait, I'm gonna shut the door real quick. There's someone else here. I've become much more shy with singing. I used to not be as much just because I was doing it all the time. So for example, I'm going to try to indicate when I'm going in my chest voice. I'll like do this or this. So this is meaning head voice. This is meaning chest voice. Just so you can like visually see along with hopefully hearing. When I look at you, what I always see is the face of someone else who once belonged to me. Still I can hear him laugh, and even though that melody plays on, he's gone. So I could go in my chest voice at that part of like, he's gone. But that provides a little more weight and that's a little more intensity than what I'm going for. So that's just a little example. And then moving throughout the song, I use my chest voice a little more and then get into using a brassier sound. I'll be lurking though. Yeah, thank you for being here. It was lovely having you. So, continuing with the song, this is like the same notes, essentially, like a repeat. It's not the same verse, but like repeat of the same notes. I'll add a little variety with how I'm going about it. When I look at you, he is standing there. I can almost breathe him in like summer in the air. Why do you smile his smile? That heaven I'd forgotten eases through in you. If you could look at me once more, with all the love you felt before. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. That was very shaky. Oh. Anyway, that's a little example. Before we get into more of having a brassier sound, it's in your head voice, but you position it more in the front of your mouth. So like, it's like before. You kind of have to like change the vowel shape as well so that it's more of like a flat sound, like an ah, and like an I, rather than like an aw. This is a stylistic choice. I also realized I like wasn't showing very accurately what I was doing with my hand along with my voice. Maybe this wasn't the best example. Anyway, shall we watch someone who is extremely great at this? This will be maybe a humiliation exercise going from me singing to like Cynthia Erivo singing, but also this is educational. I'm willing to take this. This is Cynthia Erivo singing I'm Here. And if anyone understands the technicality of, or the technical aspect of singing, like moving in and out of your chest voice and your head voice, having levels to songs of like singing quietly, getting louder, like pulling it back again in order to like have more of a build towards the end, it is her. For the musical theater nerds out there, this is what we knew Cynthia Erivo from, was her playing Celie in The Color Purple, this song, I'm Here, is an incredibly difficult song to sing, technically, emotionally, and she won a Tony for this, which is like the awards for musical theater.
I don't need you to love me. I don't need you to love. I've got my sister. I can feel her now.
Okay, so she's moving in and out of her head and chest voice, but doing it more in like a speechy type of way, like kind of speaking in a more halting manner. This is very Broadway-esque. It also helps you to build more with singing more in your full voice so that it goes somewhere.
May not be here, but she's still mine. I know. She still loves me. Got my children. I can't hold them now. They may not be here, but they still mine. I hope they know I still love them. Got my house, it still keeps the cold.
First time she starts to belt.
Got my tail when my body can't hold.
The chills everywhere.
My hands doing good like they supposed to.
Okay, I don't want to like take away from the emotion or anything because this is such a masterful performance. Like an honor, truly an honor to witness her doing this. The book, The Color Purple, is great. If you haven't read it, by the way, highly recommend. But often when you are choosing to build in this way, it also is like stylistically with singing, it is to help reflect what you were singing about. So like how she's talking about her children, like it's like even more of like the melody coming through, this like sweetness that is coming through, but how she is starting to build with like her own emotions. This is when she starts belting more. So it's like the incredible like technical skill and like practicality of what it means to have like the sounds mirror what the content of the song is saying. Building with talking about like the people she loves, then learning to love herself. That's a huge theme in the story. Here, so building up in that way, and then having like the emotion come down, like her being like overwhelmed with emotion and turning her back on the stage. That is normally something that like directors say don't do, but is so impactful of like, especially with her character still like learning how to love herself and actually like learn how to feel things so deeply and like experiencing so much hardship that it's overwhelming and like having to like pull it back in. And then using this stylistically, it's like that also takes a lot of a toll emotionally to do this kind of song.
Take a deep breath. Gonna
Are you kidding me? Belting that high? Picking up the pace. Pulling it back again. The song makes me emotional. Like, are you kidding me? Holy shit. That is why she won that award. Walking away with some sass of like, there's been a transformation happening in the song. Usually in musical theater, in musicals in general, people sing when they don't have, like, they don't have anywhere to go with their emotions. Emotions are building so much that like regular speech can't hold it back. And then within the vehicle of singing, that you can have even more capacity for emotion and acting. Just like the technical skill of her acting and singing and like body language. It just is. There are no words. So this is why she was cast as Elphaba. Another incredibly difficult role to sing and act, and how she really like brought so much to that role. And I think she should have won the Oscar for her role as Elphaba in Wicked 1. Wicked, the first one, whatever that is. Linton, subscribe for 2 months. Oh, thank you. Back with a prime. Thank you very much. It is a joy to have you here, I just have to say. Okay, so that is Cynthia Erivo being incredible. One of the greatest vocalists of all time. I maintain that. I did want to show, as we're in Culture Corner, a little bit of my own art. This is something that, like, I mean, I critique plenty of people. That's like what I do on Culture Corner. But often when I am critiquing people, it is coming from a place of being extremely critical of myself and my own art and such. So I'm like, okay, well, I should share so that there is like this mutual exchange, I guess, happening in the universe. This is something that I created after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. This was just with like pens, I guess. It's supposed to be like an abstract face, but I wrote in it, like it's kind of hidden. It's supposed to say, like, have more of like a street art style with it. It's supposed to say like no longer false justice, and having some imagery of just like things that I was seeing at the time of people's reactions, just like having like more of a place for things to go emotionally. This is something that I drew during a hard time in my life, but I think it also is like a good way to channel emotion of like not having much going on there besides like a lot of lines, of like having the technique of like using negative space as well, having a vehicle for emotion. There is a painting that I wanted to show. Okay, this is big. I don't know if this will even be able to be shown very well. I did this, so I didn't do all of it. I got it at Ross, and oh, you're at my house? Oh, sorry. This is a painting that I did. I got it from Ross. It was in like sepia tones of New York City, and then I went in with color and kind of imposed on it what I felt about New York City. Okay, there is also something else that I made that I want to show. Okay, this is, oh, things are falling off of it. Like a lot, Jesus Christ. I want to make this into like a shadow box. I think it's meant to be like looked down on more. But this is with like a lot of old jewelry that I had, especially jewelry that was like associated with like Mormonism and stuff, that I was like, I want to reclaim this and have it be my own type of artwork of like symbolism of like reclaiming like your own story and stuff. I don't know if you can even really see it that well, but there you go. God, you're asking. Oh, sorry I missed you. I didn't know. I thought someone was here. I didn't know that was you. But I hope you have fun at the concert. Anyway, if I'm going to be critiquing other people's art, I think we should be vulnerable and sharing our own. So, there we go. No, you're good. Sorry I missed you. Ooh, yes, you're gonna share something else? Group project from your first year? I love this. Alado? This is so cute. For Switch. In the mesmerizing world of, is it Alado? Embark on an epic adventure inspired by the enchanting tale of how the Brazilian Beatles got their gorgeous coats. That is so cute. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more. Guess I could do this. Journey through lush forests, vibrant jungles, and mystical landscapes as you race your friends, swing on vines, avoid predators, and sabotage platforms in a mad dash to the finish line. But who will get there first? I love this. Thank you for sharing. And I'm guessing you also did these as well, like those little scene clips. was a game concept we made when I tell you the professor was screaming and swearing down the hallway when we revealed the missile box? I know. This is so cute. And also just like real. Like this looks real. I like had to be like, wait, did you design this? Because this looks like an actual game. I'm so impressed. Very proud of you. All the work on the box is a compilation of the group's drawings, so I did parts of it. This is amazing. This is so creative. Ugh, I love talented people. I put the box together. Did you use like a Nintendo Switch game box from something else? Okay. You sacrificed Mario for it. Cute. Oh, this is part of the art. Okay, I need to save image to downloads. Hello, Bounce House. Welcome. Yeah, I would love to be able to get to a point with streaming of like when people share their art, of being able to compensate you so that you can be, because artists should be. Thank you for sharing. Aww. Honestly, art like makes life worth living. At least for me. Good art that it's like, wow, there are people who are just so wildly talented, including yourself, Linton. And especially when people use these talents for good, like spreading good messages, that's like aware and focused on shared humanity. Thank you. That's very healing. I'm so proud of you. I'm very excited to see you continue with these projects. Keep going. I mean, not like you need to listen to me, but okay. Shall we read a little bit of Othello and then I'll get out of here? Okay, so where we left off, Cassio was talking to Bianca, the woman he loves, and he was like, oh, I can't be seen with you because that makes me look weak. That's like, okay, you calm down. Just trying to say that, like, being in love with a woman makes men look weak. This is still a very real aspect of patriarchy, which makes people seem very gay a lot of the time, like straight behavior of like men who are like so woman hating. That's like, okay, if you like men so much, why don't you just like fuck them? Like, hello? Like, if you hate women so much, why not fuck men? Anyway, speaking of this aspect, homoeroticism, we are getting to Act 4, Scene 1 with Iago and Othello entering. You'll see how this is very pertinent for this scene. Iago, will you think so? Othello, think so, Iago. Iago, what? To kiss in private? Like, oh, do we need to like kiss or something? Ugh, that would be like so weird. But if you want to, I guess. But he's supposed to say, like, supposedly this is about Desdemona and Cassio, but we can also be having a queer reading of it. It lends itself very clearly to that. of Iago wanting to kiss Othello. Othello, an unauthorized kiss. Iago, or to be naked with her friend in bed, an hour or more, not meaning any harm. Talking about being naked. They're supposedly talking about Desdemona, but it does seem like Iago wishes that was him. Othello, naked in bed, Iago, and not mean harm? It is hypocrisy against the devil. Footnote. By showing every sign of committing adultery, but then stopping just in time, they deliberately mislead the devil, who wrongly takes their apparent intention to sin at face value, just as an ordinary hypocrite deceives by professing virtue. Oh, so like Iago? Which is not like they've even seen this happen. It's just trusting Iago's word, and clearly he's untrustworthy, so that's dumb. Continuing. They that mean virtuously and yet do so, the devil their virtue tempts, and they tempt heaven. Another footnote. Those who mean well virtuously, but act in this lascivious fashion, make it easy for the devil successfully to tempt them, and they push heaven to the point where it may not be able to forgive them. Okay, continuing. Iago. If they do nothing, 'tis a venial slip, an inexcusable sin. But if I give my wife a handkerchief... Othello. What then? Why then, 'tis hers, my lord, and being hers, she may, I think, bestow it on any man. Othello. She is protectress of her honor, too. May she give that? Her honor is an essence that's not seen. They have it very far... Nope. They have it very oft that have it not, but for the handkerchief. Othello. By heaven, I would most gladly have forgot it. Thou saidst, oh, it come o'er my memory as doth the raven o'er in the infectious house. So that's meaning like doctors, how they would wear those, like in the Black Plague, they would wear those one like raven masks. As a way to like get rid of the disease. This is a footnote. The raven was thought to be an ill omen and carrier of plague, which ravens get a bad name. They're very smart. There are a couple of ravens that come around here sometimes, and I'm trying to befriend them. We'll see if that happens. I feel like it will make me very psychic. And also, they're just incredible creatures. Anyway. Boding to all, he had my handkerchief. Iago. Aye, what of that? That's not so good now. What if I had said I had seen him do you wrong, or heard him say, as knaves be, such abroad? There's a footnote, but I feel like that's obvious what he's saying. Who have by their own importunate suit, or voluntary dotage of some mistress convinced or supplied them, cannot choose, but they must blab. Othello. Hath he said anything? He hath, my lord, but be you well assured, no more than he'll unswear. What hath he said? Faith that he did, I know not what he did. Wait, no. I thought he said wait, but it's not that. What? Iago, lie. With her? With her, on her, what you will. Ew. He's just like rubbing it in. This fanciful situation. Poor Othello, but also doesn't really seem like a real person in this. Because he doesn't really act in a way like a real person. This is how Shakespeare is writing a person of color, particularly a black man. Othello, lie with her? Lie on her? We say lie on her when they be lie her. Lie with her. Swoons, that's fulsome. Meaning that's nauseating. Handkerchief, confessions, handkerchief. To confess and be hanged for his labor. First to be hanged and then to confess. I tremble at it. Nature would not invest herself in such shadow shakes me thus. No, wait, I skipped a line. Nature would not invest herself in such shadowing passion without some instruction. It is not words that shake me thus. Pish! Noses, ears, and lips. Is it possible? Confess? Handkerchief, oh devil! He falls down in a trance. Maybe not a trance, but like he's just overwhelmed with emotion. Footnote. It isn't natural that I would feel such overwhelming, shadowing emotion, jealousy, unless there was some cause for it. Okay. Interesting way to look at emotions. Not to say, like, feelings aren't real, but sometimes they do not reflect the reality of a situation. Iago. Work on, my medicine works. Okay, so he's talking to the audience. My medicine works, thus credulous fools are caught, and many worthy and chaste dames even thus, all guiltless, meet reproach. What ho, my lord! My lord, I say, Othello! Enter Cassio. So he's like speaking to the audience, and now that somebody is coming in, he's trying to pretend like he cares about Othello, who is in a fainting manner, overcome with emotion. Also saying, like, in Shakespeare's plays, this is still to this day in patriarchy, of like men showing overt displays of emotion, especially about women, that this is viewed as emasculating, and then it will be their downfall. They will lose their manliness, their manhood, and even their lives, potentially. This is idiotic, by the way. How now, Cassio? What's the matter? My lord has fallen into an epilepsy. This is his second fit. He had one yesterday. Rub him about the temples. Iago. No, forbear. The lethargy must have his quiet course. If not, he foams at the mouth, and by breaks out to savage madness. So, racializing. It's discriminatory, to be clear. Look, he stirs. Do withdraw yourself a little while. He will recover straight. Straight? Possibly. Queer? Also possibly. Maybe more likely. When he is gone, I would on great occasion speak with you. How is it, General? Have you not hurt your head? So exit Cassio. Iago's like, no, don't come showing him that you care, because this will be bad for my plan and him hating you. Footnote. Othello takes this as suggesting that he has grown cuckold's horns. Meaning, have you not hurt your head? Othello. Dost thou mock me? I mock you not, by heaven. Would you would bear your fortune like a man? Okay. A horned man's a monster and a beast. There's many a beast, then, in a populous city, and many a civil monster. Did he confess it? Good sir, be a man. Think every bearded fellow that's but yoked may draw with you? There's millions now alive that nightly lie on those unproper beds, which they dare swear peculiar. Your case is better. Oh, 'tis the spite of hell, the fiend's arch mock, meaning the devil's greatest mock. Footnote. Every married man, yoked like an ox to his wife, and hence to cuckoldry, the old ball and chain, as if, like, they're forced into that, labors under the same fate. Another footnote. Who lies in bed that don't belong entirely to them, but they would swear are exclusively their own. Your case is better. Oh, 'tis the spite of hell, the fiend's arch mock, to lip a wanton in a secure couch, and to suppose her chaste. No, let me know, and knowing what I am, I know what she shall be. Oh, thou art wise, 'tis certain. Stop trusting this bitch, okay? It's annoying to read this. It's like, everyone just trusts Iago without any sort of question. This is not realistic. Iago, stand you a while apart. Confine yourself but in a patient list, meaning boundary, whilst you were here, overwhelmed with your grief, a passion most unsuiting such a man. Okay. Because you know about manliness. Like, whatever that means. Cassio came hither. I shifted him away, and laid good excuse upon your ecstasy, like a good excuse, for your fit. But also him talking about ecstasy while he is being separated from Desdemona. Iago is talking about Othello in more like sexualized terms because I think he wants to be with him. Bade him anon in return, and he bade him anon return, and here speak with me. The which he promised, but do encave yourself, and mark the fleers, meaning hide yourself, and mark the sneers, the jibes, and the notable scorns that dwell in every region of his face, for I will make him tell the tale anew. Where, how oft, how long ago, and when he hath and is again to cope your wife, meaning copulate with your wife, ew. I say, but mark his gesture, Mary, patience, or I shall say you're all in spleen, meaning completely impulsive, and nothing of a man. So here, Iago is being manipulative and saying, like, see, he's caught you when you weren't being manly. He's going to use this against you. Dost thou hear, Iago? I will be found most cunning in my patience. But dost thou hear? Most bloody. Iago, that's not amiss, but yet keep time in all, meaning maintain control. Will you withdraw? Othello stands apart. Now will I question Cassio of Bianca, a hussy that by selling her desires buys herself bread and cloth. So he is shaming Bianca for being a sex worker, what they were calling, what's the exact term? Bianca, the courtesan. It's like as if Iago is not familiar with engaging with sex workers. It is a creature that dotes on Cassio, as 'tis the strumpet's plague to beguile many, and be beguiled by one. He, when he hears of her, cannot restrain from the excess of laughter. Enter Cassio. Here he comes. As he shall smile, Othello shall go mad, and his unbookish jealousy must conster, so his ignorant jealousy must construe. Poor Cassio smiles, gestures, and light behaviors, quite in the wrong. How do you now, Lieutenant? Cassio, the worsener that you give me the addition, whose want even kills me. Ply Desdemona well, and you are sure on it. Now if this suit lay in Bianca's power, how quickly should you speed? Cassio, laughing. Alas, poor caitiff, meaning wretch, talking about himself. Othello, aside. So they're having this aside in, like, Othello is watching. Look how he laughs already. Iago, I never knew a woman love man so. Cassio, alas, poor rogue, I think in faith she loves me. So Iago is trying to have it look like they're romantically in love, but he's like, oh, she does like you, doesn't she? Because she's talking about advocating for you. So Cassio and Desdemona are viewing it more as like friends, and Iago's trying to make it look to Othello that he's speaking about romantic love. Othello, aside. Now he denies it faintly and laughs it out. Iago, do you hear, Cassio? Othello, aside. Now he importunes him to Teledor. Go to, well said, well said. She gives it out that you shall marry her. Do you intend it? Cassio, ha ha ha! Okay, so he's also trying to okay, so Iago is intentionally being vague about the language here, where he keeps talking about Desdemona but then switches to Bianca, and Cassio knows the difference, but Othello does not. Othello, aside. Do ye triumph, Roman? Do you triumph? Footnote. Perhaps Othello draws on associations either with Rome's imperial successes and subsequent collapse, or with the Roman practice of holding celebratory processions. It was also very Roman to fuck your brothers in arms, so there's that. Where was I? Cassio. I, Mary, what a customer! Prithee bear some charity to my wit. Do not think it so unwholesome. That's me laughing. As Cassio. Othello aside. So, they laugh that wins. Iago, faith, the cry goes that you marry her. Prithee, say true. I am a very villain else. Othello, ha, you scored me? Well. Cassio, this is the monkey's own giving out, meaning Bianca's own story. She is persuaded I will marry her out of town. Nope. Out of her own love and flattery, not out of my promise. So, Cassio is speaking of Bianca once again, and Othello thinks it's about Desdemona. Othello aside. Iago beckons me. Now he begins the story. Othello draws closer. Cassio. She was here even now. She haunts me in every place. I was the other day talking on the sea bank with certain Venetians, and thither comes the bauble, and falls me thus about my neck. Othello aside. Crying, "Oh dear Cassio," as it were. His gesture imports it. Cassio. So hangs and lolls and weeps upon me, so shakes and pulls me. Ha ha ha! So he's like laughing at Bianca loving him. Othello aside. Now he tells me how she plucked him to my chamber. Oh, I see that nose of yours, but not that dog I shall throw it to. Footnote. I'm envisioning my revenge, but the time is not yet quite right. Cutting off the enemy's nose was understood as a form of retribution. Cassio. Well, I must leave her company. Enter Bianca. Iago. Before me, look where she comes. Cassio. 'Tis such another fit you. Marry a perfumed one. So he's going to pretend like he doesn't like her, even though he does, because he is in love with a sex worker. So he is being incredibly bigoted. What do you mean by this haunting of me? Footnote. Polecat, associated with prostitutes because of its bad smell and presumed lecherousness, meaning a type of perfume. Bianca. Let the devil and his dam haunt you, meaning mother. What did you mean by that same handkerchief you gave me even now? I was a fine fool to take it. I must take out the whole work, a likely piece of work, meaning an impossible story. So she is smart, and Cassio is not giving her credit for this. Like, oh, she's just a lowly sex worker, when she speaks in a way that is very clever. That you should find it in your chamber and know not who left it there? This is some minx's token, and I must take out the work. There, give it your hobby horse, meaning loose woman. Wheresoever you had it, I'll take out no work on it. She's like, whichever women you got this from, like, don't give it to me and then say, like, take out the embroidery on it, because, like, I don't want to be doing this for another woman you love. How now, my sweet Bianca? How now? How now? Othello aside. By heaven, that should be my handkerchief. Bianca. And you'll come to supper tonight, you may, and you will not come when you are not prepared for. So meaning, come next time I prepare for you. Meaning, never. Don't come. So she's also meaning that, like, in a double sense. She's smart. Shakespeare actually wrote her in a way that was more intelligent than what you would expect of a man at the time. That doesn't mean he is like some like revolutionary feminist, though. So she exits. Iago. After her! After her! Cassio. Faith, I must. She'll rail in the streets else. Will you sup there? Faith, I intend so. Well, says Iago, I may chance to see you, for I would very fain speak with you. Cassio. Prithee, come, will you? Iago. Go to, say no more. Exit Cassio. Okay, this is a long scene. Yeah, I think this is where we'll have to stop today. It was a little more, like, halting in the reading, but it is what it is, I guess. Yeah. We will finish this reading on Monday. Scene 1 of Act 4. We do get more eventful happenings of the confusion of all these characters. Iago in the middle of it, trying to spin his web. It's not because he's clever or smart. It's just because he is hateful and is using all of these things that are embedded in their society that do still exist in many societies this day, of patriarchy and racism and class, all to his own benefit. So, there we go. Okay. That will be it for me today. But should we see if there's someone on for a raid? Who would we like to raid today? Doo-doo-doo. Oh, I think Androgynous Water's on. Yeah. Water, yay! Water was in here before. Love them. Okay. Thank you all for being here. It was lovely being with you. It's kind of a chaotic stream, but what else is new over here? I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you soon. Behave, be kind. Okay, bye. Thank you all.